and tons and tons and tons of corals around the world have been dying. Seriously though, at least 8.3 million tons of plastic ends up in our oceans every single year. We have been polluting what we call our home for decades, including our oceans. Our ocean is dying, coral reefs are dying, and sea creatures are dying. And this won't stop, it will continue, but we all have the power to put an end to this. 50%, an estimated amount of 50% of our ocean's corals have already died. 50%, meaning that we have already lost half of our global coral reefs. And if we continue going down at this rate, researchers say that we will lose up to 90% of the corals by the end of the century. So when exactly will this century end? This century will end in 79 years, 6 months, and 20 days to be exact. All the reefs around the world are under a crisis. The world's numbers of coral reefs have been rapidly declining in these recent decades. All the world's reefs are under a crisis because they're constantly under the pressure from climate change, pollution, ocean warming, ocean acidification, and rising sea levels. But these are only some of the key reasons why corals are in such great amount of danger. But due to COVID-19, Bali's corals are finally getting a sigh of relief from their usual pressures, back to when tourism was way more active. But even so, the Indonesian Institute of Sciences has surprisingly shown that Bali has increased in its plastic waste, and that is mostly and primarily blamed to the higher demand for online shopping. When the plastics are not processed properly, they're ending their journeys into our oceans and starting to pollute and harm our marine ecosystem, including our coral reefs. Without coral reefs, we will lose everything that they provide, including our whole marine biodiversity, and there would be a lot less oxygen for us to breathe in. Our coral reefs generate around half of our Earth's oxygen and absorb nearly 1/3 of the carbon dioxide generated from burning fossil fuels. Now imagine the world without any coral reefs. Imagine swimming through the ocean where all the rainbows of colors and life you would normally find on these corals wouldn't be there, and will never be. Now I remember swimming through the ocean, seeing colors of all sorts, and suddenly a big wave of plastic hitting me. The wave continued to grow, and so did the plastic. Tons and tons and tons of it. So how can we all stop this from happening in the first place? There are many big strategies out there on reducing and addressing climate change. However, I decided to focus on an alternative approach. Working with an organization called Living Seas Bali, I had an opportunity to work with them and plant these corals myself. I went on 3 coral planting dives and planted around 50 corals overall myself. Many coral reef restoration and conservation projects have been made around the world, even though coral planting is relatively new. On my first dive, I had to collect these broken apart fragments that still had a chance for survival. On my second dive, I replanted them on a cement and rock basis that they would later on grow on. Planting these artificial coral reefs can act as a marine conservation site as well as a tourist site with a lot of economic benefits. Coral planting has given a lot of people new opportunities and jobs since a lot of people have lost their jobs due to COVID-19. So not only has coral planting made a positive impact for our environment, but so has it on our humanity. Before I want to end this speech, I want to thank all the teachers for supporting me throughout this whole project, and I want to thank my parents for encouraging me to go on with this project. Thank you.